Hi, welcome to episode 16 of Johanna Banana. And that quote, that first slide, was actually something that inspired me for this episode. It's so fitting for what we're going to be talking about when I was living with the trucker. But one of my friends posted that we endured a freshman Spanish class together. I know, it's so funny. It's like two of my viewers, one I endured freshman PE with, the other one we did freshman Spanish with. I failed, had to repeat. I know, how embarrassing. But hey, I met my high school boyfriend in that class, so I think that's kind of why I failed Spanish. But anyways, she posted that quote a few weeks ago, and I just loved it because I knew it was going to fit this episode so well. Okay, Aiden, throw me the recap hat. Let's recap from the... I totally dropped the recap hat. Let's try again. Take two.
Slid it off.
Okay. I'm going with this one. My cute witch's hat that I never did wear at Halloween because, well, it was going to get all wet washing the dogs, so I did wear it. But anyways, I love this hat. Let's recap. Okay, so got the tattoo. Check it out. It's been a little itchy, but I put the A and you put diaper rash ointment on it. Yeah, put the A&D ointment on it. So I've been putting the A&D ointment on to keep it from itching. But it's healing. I love it. Like I said, I'm probably going to get some more. I have about four or three more. I can't lose track because I love all these watercolor tattoos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's cats and there's mermaids, and I love all this stuff, and I want it all. But I will pace myself. I'm going to pace myself. But that was great. And then our episode before that, let's see, what are we on now? I think we are on, which guy are we on now? I don't know. I've lost track. I think we're on guy number 7. But so as we're going to be entering this next guy, this is when I kind of realized a pattern in my relationships. So I go through serial dating. Okay, and this is why this slide, the opening slide, is so fitting because I'm now just taking this time this year to learn about myself, learn how to love myself because I have no idea. It's really hard. You say all this stuff. It's like you say these quotes like, you need to learn how to love yourself before you can love anyone else. Yes. If you don't have respect for yourself, nobody's going to respect you. Yes. Okay, we get all these great quotes. People say this to us all the time, these wonderful words of advice. Hell, I've said it to people sometimes, But actually, like, doing it or actually, like, feeling really secure with yourself and loving yourself is a totally different thing. And it's very difficult. And I'm struggling with that, not taking things too personally. I struggle with that too. So I'm trying to work on that this year. I'm trying to learn how to love myself because you're right. I just love that opening quote because I think especially for women, for girls at a very early age, at least for me, there's some wonderfully strong women out there. I wasn't one of these girls. I kind of put my whole self-worth into a guy. Like I never felt settled unless I was in a relationship. I felt like anxious, like I didn't know what to do with myself because I was alone. So I've spent a lot of my adult life trying not to be alone. But you know what? Being alone isn't so bad. And I'm not really alone. Okay. Yes, I don't have a significant other. But one thing that I learned after my dad died is look in your own damn backyard, people. Okay. Really. And that's what I did. I took a step back from the situation that I was in because I got scared shitless. In this next story, I got scared shitless before. And that's what breaks this serial dating cycle is I get so scared, so burnt that I actually say, okay, hold up. I need to take a break from men. I'm trying to break this pattern though, trying to break it. But this is a pattern that I have now realized as we're going to talk about the trucker that I lived with. But the reason that I get into these relationships and the reason why I'm constantly serial dating is because, yes, I've never learned how to love myself. I've never been content with being single. Um, and I was constantly looking for other people, new people, searching. And I should have looked in my own damn backyard. Because you know what I discovered? I have wonderful family. Yes, wonderful family. And I feel like a horrible parent because Ada didn't even know about this, about some of my extended family. And I feel really bad about that. But I'm making it up. I'm getting to know some of my family members. I've opened up my circle of friends. And yeah, so I'm not alone. But you're right. Society makes you feel like, I mean, you don't even want to go to restaurants by yourself, right? You bring your book, you bring your tablet. God, I know we're social beings, but we really have to stop putting that pressure. I think there's a high society pressure too to not be alone. Okay. Anyways. All right, so we're going to talk about the trucker I lived with next. Yeah. Okay, so try to think when we had the trucker live with us, Aiden. How long ago was that? I'm trying to remember. You were young. Anyways, okay, so I had just got dumped on an envelope. Okay, as we all know, the last guy, I totally built the whole relationship up in my head. And that's another thing that I do. I meet someone and then I start planning our whole future. I know it's a ridiculous thing to do, but because I'm a planner and I worry and I have never appreciated living in the moment, okay, I'm a planner. So I meet someone and I'm already planning our future. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to marry him. And this is where we're going to live, blah, 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 blah. I know, it's stupid thinking. I'm trying to stop this thinking. I'm not the only one that thinks this way, Aiden, though. There's a lot of women out there that think this way. I'm beginning to learn. But anyways, so I was on Plenty of Fish again because here I was down in the dumps because I got dumped, right? And I'm like, oh, hell no. I am not about to be dumped. Like, your self-esteem is in the toilet. So you go back online and you want to look all pretty and you want the guys to say, oh, you're gorgeous. And you're like, see, I'm hot. Okay. You dumped me, you loser. Anyways, I met this guy and he was a truck driver. And at first I was like, I don't know, because I thought, and he wasn't just a local truck driver. He was a truck driver, a long haul truck driver, like all over the US. But the thing is we really connected. And the thing that gets me, this is what has me fall in love with men, is good conversations. So we had really good conversations. We talked on the phone. We were like two girls. We talked. I never talked on the phone. We talked on the phone all night one night. I think, yeah, Aiden, I think all about, and I come into every relationship. I'm trying not to do this anymore. And I lay all my cards on the table. I talk to them like I've known them for 50 million years. And I tell them my whole story. I have nothing to hide, blah, blah, blah. Like, I never understand with these people with the walls up. Like, I'll ask people questions like, I don't want to talk about that right now. Like, I never get that because that's not me. Okay, this is where I get into trouble, Aiden. I just spill everything to these people. But the thing is, this guy ate it all up and he was so caring. Like, this is what gets me about when I look back at these past relationships, Aiden. They're so wonderful in the beginning. I mean, you don't fall in love with the guy that's cheating on you. They don't start doing these kind of things in the beginning. You don't fall in love with the guy cheating on you. You don't fall in love with the guy that's mean to your kid because he was. He didn't start out that way, did he, Aiden? No, he didn't. He was so nice. And the thing that really got me about him was the fact that he was, what I like to say, housebroken. Okay? Because he had been married for 15 years. He had 3 daughters. But here should have been the red flag, Aiden. Did he talk to those daughters? Aiden, do you remember him ever talking to the kids? Or the kids?
He had kids.
See? Aiden didn't even know the guy had kids, okay? Because they didn't talk to him anymore. Yeah, he had 3 daughters who wanted nothing to do with him. Red flag, red flag. But me, la la la, fairy tale thinking Johanna Banana didn't see that, okay? Saw the fact that, okay, he's been around kids. Okay, kids can be kids and divorce is messy, so they're just having a little fallout, misunderstanding, no big deal. Kids will come back around. I didn't think anything of it. I just fell in love with everything he told me because he wanted to have a serious relationship. It was just like he fed me every line known to man. And here's something that I've now learned. I always believe people. I'm very naive, Aiden. I believe people when they tell me stuff, and I shouldn't do that as much anymore because there's a lot of shady people out there. But I'm so freaking naive. But anyways, so I met him on Plenty of Fish. He was a truck driver. We had wonderful conversations, sometimes all night long. And then after we've been talking for about 2 weeks, because he was over the road, we've been talking for 2 weeks, just nonstop. He called me out of the blue and said, my mom is dying. He was also back from the Bay Area. He was a Bay Area guy. Yeah, Bay Area. Fremont, to my Bay Area friends. Fremont, dude. And so, anyways, he said, my mom is dying. My mother is dying. I know we've never met, but, and here's where you're like, you're lucky you're not dead. Yes, I am very lucky that I'm not dead because his mom was dying. He called me up and he asked me to go to California with him. I had never met him. Come on, Aiden.
Lord.
I know. This is my fairy tale thinking. This is where I'm people driven. This is where I'm intense. This is where I'm compulsive. And this is, oh my God, like, this is why I'm retelling these stories, because retelling these stories makes me think I had some fucked up thinking, okay? Yeah. So I never met him. And he wanted to go back to the Bay Area. Yes. I'm trying to remember. Kaiser. She was a Kaiser, people, for my Bay Area friends out there. Kaiser. Okay. So I was like, oh my gosh, okay. I felt so bad for him because we were thinking that we were soulmates and all this lovely stuff. So, okay, all right. This is so meant to be. I know, stupid thinking. So, okay. So I'm going to go to California with him, right? Aiden, I shipped you off to your dad and your stepmother. You were like 6 or something at the time.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, you couldn't go to California. We could have both been dead if I would have taken you. Anyhow. So, now, he said we could either rent a car or he could bring his car, but his car was way out in storage somewhere. And me, being the helpful person that I was, not really realizing what a broke-ass loser he was. I didn't know at the time. I thought, I said, oh, we'll just use my car. It will be easier. Okay. So remember that. That was another thing. So remember that, okay, that we used my car, right? And I just thought it was a convenient thing to do. But that was his plan. He was hoping that I would use my car because he had no other way to get there. Okay. We'll talk about that next episode. But let's remember that we had to use my car, but I thought it was just convenient, more helpful. I didn't know his financial situation. I didn't know him at all. I never even met the guy. So I meet him at a truck stop, and I'm really nervous. I've never met him before, right? Really, really nervous. And I meet him at a truck stop, and he comes over to me, and he opens his mouth and gives you a big old smile. His teeth are caked with plaque. His breath is hideous. Like, well, Aiden, we all lived it. We never knew breath could get that bad, but it can. And I'm like, oh my God, right? Now, most people most people would be like, would leave, right? You're like, Johanna Banana, that's your cue to exit. And I should have. But I felt really bad, Aiden. The guy was dying. His guy's mother was dying. I had agreed to this. You know, you had been shipped off to your, you know, I felt like I'm in this boat. Let's just go with it. Okay. All right. We're going to go with it. So we got in the car. He drove. And it's like a 10-hour drive. And he's listening to music. And he's singing the whole time with this horrible, god-awful breath. And I'm thinking, what the fuck did I get myself into? Like, what did I get myself into? Like, what the hell? But he's still saying all these nice things to me and everything, Aiden. And then, you know, we get to the hotel and he buys me flowers, all these roses and everything. And he's super romantic because these guys that are screwed up in the head, oh my God, when they're nice and they're super romantic, they really are. They really are, you know, and he took me to a nice dinner and I just felt so bad for the guy. And then I met his family and his family was really nice, Aiden. And it was so cool to be back in the Bay Area. And so I kind of got over the bad breath, or at least my nose got used to it. I don't know whichever happened, but I got over it. And then we came back and his mother did pass away, I think, 3 days later. And so he came back and he hung out here. He took some grievance time from work and he just hung out here because he didn't have a place to live. He said he would just, he said he would just get hotel rooms when he was here off-roading. And here's another thing. This is another reason I fell in love with him. And I don't know if you remember this or not, Aiden, but he was really good with you in the beginning. Do you remember that at all? He was really good with Aiden in the beginning. Yeah, he was so cool. Like he would take Aiden to GameStop. You guys remember GameStop? And he hooked up the PlayStation for you. And it was just so refreshing because after the last guy, the guy that dumped me on the envelope, that was always jealous of you and said that you were giving him the stink eye. When you were like severely autistic at that time and not even looking up from the ground. You weren't looking anybody in the eye, let alone giving someone the stink eye. But so that's another reason why I fell in love with him. But I never asked him to move in. After we came back from the Bay Area with his mom and whatnot, he just moved in. Like I remember he just weaseled his way. Now KP tells me, she's warned me about these guys. They just weasel their way in. I know this now, but at the time I didn't. I just kind of let it be. And I didn't think it was so bad at the time, him living with us. I thought it was going to be good because he was a truck driver. He had a career. I thought he had good money. I thought he could help us out, you know. And so I thought, and the fact that he was a truck driver and was gone, you know, for weeks on end, I didn't think that it would be such a big deal that he lived with us. Okay, so I let him live with us, Aiden. I did. And you guys were getting along great. You don't remember it, but you guys played video games. I can't remember what PlayStation.
Plants vs. Zombies.
What was Plants vs. Zombies?
Plants vs. Zombies.
Okay, so they would play Plants.
It was on like the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, it was on PlayStation 2.
I do remember that. Yes.
Okay, so it was on PlayStation 2. They played Plants vs. Zombies. He also fixed up our place. He did our kitchen, our sink. He redid our sink. He was a handyman. Anyways, this was my lovely honeymoon period that we were in, and it was nice. You know, his breath, he never got it. His teeth were rotting out of his head. He tried to go to the dentist and stuff, but he just didn't have the money. Anyhow, but it's still, you know, overall, it wasn't bad. And he asked me to marry him too. Yeah, he asked me to marry him, and I said yes. I know, again, stupid thinking when I'm in a relationship. Like I used to tell my dad, this is what I used to tell my dad. The minute I would get in a relationship, Dad, I'd take my brain, I check it right at the door. Goodbye, brain. Goodbye. Hopefully I won't be doing that anymore. This is why I'm doing this channel. And because I'm trying to break some of these bad habits. So anyways, I was in my honeymoon period. It was wonderful. It was great. It was awesome. And then he came home briefly, and he had a bunch of stuff that I wanted him to do, like fixing up some stuff around my place. And so he went out in the morning and he went to Home Depot. And I think we had been living together for about a month. And I think I had never had a honeymoon period last more than two or 3 months. This whole honeymoon period for a year, I would love to live the honeymoon period for a year. Never have. It was about a month, and he went to Home Depot to fix up some stuff, and he got to a car accident. He almost died. Now, do you remember this, Aiden?
Yeah.
Okay. He got into a car accident. Somebody T-boned him. And it was a very scary thing. And so the car that he did have a car. He did get it. It was a beat up, broken down pickup truck with no AC. So of course, the minute it got T-boned, totaled. I don't know what it was. I mean, but it got totaled. So he was without a car. And he had to stay in the hospital. Do you remember, Aiden, when we had to go visit him at the hospital?
Oh, God, yeah.
And we went to this huge hospital and we got lost. It was so embarrassing. We got lost. Anyways, he stayed in the hospital for 2 nights. He was okay. They just wanted to keep him from observations. They were worried that he had a spinal injury. He was like one of those neck braces. Do you remember that, Aiden? Do you remember seeing him in a neck brace? He had to be really still because they thought there was a spinal injury.
No.
Well, anyways, he stayed 2 nights in the hospital. But that was the beginning of the end for us, because my honeymoon period was over. Because after the car accident, he took that as an opportunity to quit his job, right? Quit his job. And what was I doing at the time, Aiden? I was making some big bucks. Yeah, I was a customer service rep at U-Haul. So here I was, customer service rep at U-Haul, living with the truck driver who I'm engaged to. He said he was going to buy me remember, he was going to personalize an engagement ring for me. Remember that, Aiden? And yes. Aiden wanted a chocolate water fountain thing at the reception. Anyways, once he got into that accident and decided to quit his job, and I had to support all of us on U-Haul salary, yes, and my dad had to pay our electric bill, that was the beginning of the end for us. And I'm going to dive into our horrible relationship and all the craziness on our next episode, okay? Because I want to, I talk way too much, and I'm trying to make these episodes not as long as possible, not short as possible. But I'm sure this is probably going to be another 45-minute episode. But anyways, so that's what happened. It was great. Got in a car accident, totaled his car. I ended up having to support us. So of course, when money situations happen, and when somebody went from just spending a couple days with me once a month to like full on living with me, yeah, the shit hit the fan. Okay? Yeah. And we'll get into all that lovely, lovely crap next episode. Okay, so now my favorite part, hope. I love this part of my show because I get to talk about other people and not my fucked up choices. So, let me show you this. I'm going to fold over this page because this is their actual names. Here's my list, okay? 12 guys are on this list. Yeah, I'm not very proud of this. I did not set out to have 12 guys. What I set out for was this story that I'm about to tell you, because this person did what I wanted to do, okay? Very, very jealous. But yeah, so you see this? 12 guys. I'm about to tell you a story of the 2 J's. Now, I love JY because, as you know, I have a lot of friends that are all different ages. And I love that. I love that I have my young friends that teach me like the new terms like froyo, Apparently that's frozen yogurt. Kids can't say frozen yogurt. They don't have the time for that. They say froyo. And my froyo friend, she also told me when I lost weight, I didn't know what happened. I was like, where did my butt go? Apparently your peach, that's what you call your butt, is the first to go. I learned that from some of my young friends. I love a lot of my older friends because I can totally like emotionally throw up all over them and be like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And they acted this way. And they calm me down and they tell me that I'm taking things too personally and that I can have different relationships with different friends and all this stuff. And what I like about my older friends and what I have learned, because I'm thinking, God, like, why is my aunt and why are some of my cousins like so calm and I'm like spastic boombastic? The reason why is because they've seen a lot of shit. They've been through a lot of shit. And it does change you. I feel a lot more like evolved and I'm not sweating the small stuff as much anymore. I still kind of am. I'm still always going to be a little bit of a drama queen. But, I've had some life-altering experiences and it does change you. And it does help you look at the bigger picture. And it does help you give some sort of perspective. So, I love all my different variety of friends. But what I really love about JY is the fact that we are the same age. This is my only friend that we are the same age. And what's really nice and really cool, and I've never really experienced this, is the fact that we're the same age. We have the same childhood memories, okay? We were all into Care Bears, My Little Pony, She-Ra. I'm sure some of my friends too, my Bay Area high school friends, but know this too. So it's really so much fun to talk to her and to remember things like the Care Bear movie. Yeah, I watched that a couple weeks ago when I was like really depressed because it cheers you up. You got to watch some of your old favorite childhood movies. Totally. So it's nice to have that kind of friendship. And it's so funny because we have so many of the same pop culture references we use with the dogs that when we're talking about the dogs or talking about music, it's like we're in each other's heads. And that's what's so nice. And that's what I love so much about JY. Anyways, here's why I'm so jealous of her also. Because I'm about to tell the story of how she met her husband. So this person, JY, has only been, I know, she's my age, or 43, has only been with 2. Yeah, 2. Yeah, I have a list of men. I have little folded up pieces of paper in my hat, as you guys know, of just dates, not actual relationships, but just little situations or dates. 2. So this is the story of the double J's. It's kind of cool. They both have the same initial, JY, JY. Now, she had her high school boyfriend. After her high school boyfriend, I should say that they were in high school together. They did meet in high school together. They knew each other. He was actually friends with her high school boyfriend. So after her high school boyfriend, that relationship ended, she got with JY. JY, she was JL at the time, but she met her husband then, and she was 19 at the time. Yes, I know. This is what I wanted. I wanted to be with the one guy. I didn't want to date all these people and have to do a YouTube channel. But, our lives take us in different journeys. So they met when she was 19, and they are still together. They have 3 kids. Their oldest, I think she's 20. She just turned 21. Yeah, their oldest is 21. I only know that because she got her drink on. And then they have 2 other children. And one is close to Aiden's age. So it's kind of cool that we have kids that are kind of close to Aiden's age. But she's awesome. And her husband is amazing. And what really makes their relationship work, and there were several friends that all kind of got married around the same time that they did, but they're the ones that are still standing. And so I asked her, what is the key to your relationship? Because, we're all jealous of this, all of us. And she said the key to their relationship, first of all, they're friends. And I think it helped that they kind of knew each other anyways. They came from really good families. Her dad is another connection that her grandfather was a Baptist preacher. So we have we have that connection too with the church. Both of their parents are still married. So I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it. They came from really good families, good values. The thing also that she shared with me was the fact that they talk about everything. You have to talk things out. You have to compromise. You have to make things work. And here's another thing that she said to me. And this was my downfall in my second marriage, okay, was the fact that, yes, people change. Yeah, I am not the same person I was when I was 20. You're somewhat the same, but you change too. Your core, I think, always stays the same, at least for me. Still going to be that little girl that likes the cutesy stuff. But life, circumstances, and things like that change. So the cool thing about the double J's is they change together. They learn to bend and not break. And that is, I think, the key, is the fact that they learn to bend and not break. But I want to tell you a story about how cool he is, okay? And this is why we're all jealous, or gelin. Is that what the young people say? Gelin, I think, but I don't know. Whatever. This is why we're all jealous. Okay. So, JY has 3 horses, 6 dogs. She has her 6 pack of dogs, and 2 cats. Her husband is allergic to all of them. But he takes pills and he takes pills. I don't know what else he does. I don't know. But he loves her. That's how much he loves her. Okay. That's amazing. Okay. Now, I'm trying to think, not last Christmas, but I think it was the Christmas before that, JY wanted a Chihuahua. She was going on and on about Chihuahua, and for a couple days, remember just listening to her talk about Chihuahua, you're like, okay, all right, yeah, that's nice. And then, all of a sudden, she showed up holding this little teacup Chihuahua. I call him my little Carlito. And I was just like, okay, you were just talking about it with me like the day before, and then she got it. And so here is where, this is an amazing story that she told us, and this is why I wish all men were like this. So when Carlos was little, all of her dogs, I don't know, sleep with her. I don't know how. I honestly don't know where her husband even fits on the bed sometimes when she tells me these stories about how they're all piled up in bed together. But somehow her husband finds a spot on the bed with her and all her babies, all her fur babies. And Carlos, okay, she's telling the story. And I don't know exactly what happened. He was still a baby or whatever. Carlos, my little Carlito, got on her husband's back and peed on his back. I think it was his back. I don't know. Might be the wrong. But anyways, her husband got peed on by her dog. And he wasn't even upset. He was okay with it. All of us did all of us just sitting there, have our dogs on our table, we're listening to her story, and she's like, oh my God, Carlos, little Carlita, he peed on, and we're just we're doing the Sydney face. Because he's so understanding and nice about it. And I've been with guys, I've been with Aiden's dad who hated my cats, and so it's kind of just wow, it's just incredible that he was so nice about it. So the cool thing about the double J's is they really love each other, and they really respect each other. He brought her a sandwich the other day to work because she hadn't been feeling well, and so that just the thoughtfulness, and that's all it takes. It's just being kind and being thoughtful and thinking, hey, You know, my wife had a bad day at work the day before. Let me bring her a sandwich the next day. I mean, that's so nice. That's what we all want. That's what I'm hoping for. So this story is a really good hope story about the two J's. Met at 19, been married ever since. They're good friends. He puts up with all of her animals. I'm sure he loves them too, but you know, it's just incredible how patient he is with her and with all the pets. And I think she said something like every 3 years or something she brings a new pet home. Yeah. And that's love, you know, that's compromising, that's bending and not breaking. So thank you to the Double J's for sharing your story with me and giving me hope, because eventually I want to find somebody that's not going to care if one of my lizards poops on him. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. Okay, so thank you for watching another episode of Johanna Banana. God, it's been so nice doing this, and it's really helped me feel better. So I just can't say thank you enough to everybody that's been watching and all the support that I have received. And I have to say something about Ukraine, because boy, Aiden and I have been watching Ukraine, and we feel like two very spoiled Americans. Okay, very spoiled, very spoiled. And that's another thing, again, about getting perspective and kind of getting out of yourself. Okay, so I've had some fucked up relationships. Okay, so yes, my dad passed away, but my life is not that bad, right? Like my opening slide, it's not that bad. All you have to do is just look at someone else's life or watch Ukraine, and then, yeah, you feel very, very spoiled and very, very grateful. So I am very grateful for all of you for watching. And again, let's pray for Ukraine. Let's pray for all those. Oh God, it's heart wrenching, but we watch it every day because I want Eden to be aware that we are spoiled Americans. Okay. All right. Thank you for watching.